You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
Max, next up, we welcome into our house, no stranger to the family table, Brother Corbin Hargraves, my brother from another, man. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. How have you been?
I've been blessed, man. I can't complain one bit. How have you all been?
Likewise, brother.
Doing,
yeah.
I'm looking for you
doing
to
well
get
and
some money. Let's cut the chase now. When you family,
doing well. And I told you during the break, I'm excited about this.
I'm excited for the opportunity to have my team on and us to talk about financial wisdom and knowledge. It's a great opportunity, and I thank all of you.
Yeah. And so, before you introduce your partner, since Seville and the listening area, should be familiar with you and your work. Before you introduce your business partner and y'all in your endeavor, first let me say that Max and with the rest of the team here had a great idea of Razor had a business segment that he had started, great, right? And then we always talk economics. Corbin, you've been on here talking with us before. So then Max brought up the idea to the team of, like investing is big right now. Like that's part of like Black people and our economic growth, as a culture, community, now, whether it's because of cryptocurrency, whether it's because there's more of us in the limelight that's investing and starting, businesses and our minority owners and things of that sort, we are involved in investing seems like more than ever, right? So we reached out to you, brother, and you so happily agreed to partner with us on this series of investment education. So thank you for that, man. And without further ado, like Razor said, let's get to the money. So Corbin, I'm gonna pass it over to you, to introduce Aaron and the way you would like and introduce Thomas.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you for the opportunity. And, the irony of it is, how ironic is it that it's the 100-year anniversary of Tulsa?
Yes, facts.
Right?
Thank you for that.
And we're kicking this series off, 100-year anniversary. And before I get to my company, I want to tell you all something. Last night, I was in CVS, and there's a new edition that came out. It's called the special edition of the Times 100 Photographs, the most influential images of all time. And one of the first pictures in this book last night, I just happened to be in CVS, is a picture labeled as couple in raccoon coats. It was taken in 1932 by James Vander Zee. It said, to many white Americans in 1930s, Black people were little more than domestics or sharecroppers. They were ignored, invisible, forgotten, but that's not what Vander Zee thought. 32 was the depth of the Great Depression, right? And I find that so crazy because even after the devastation of Tulsa, you're talking 10 years later, there were still people. It's a Black couple in this picture that shows success in Harlem 10 years after the fact, right? So even after the devastation and the atrocity of Tulsa, there have still been people in our community that have been trailblazers, innovators, doctors, lawyers, financial professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs. And so for you to extend the opportunity to me and my team to come on here to talk about something that we love, we're passionate about, something that, Aaron, I know you relate. We do the same thing. We are financial professionals. We're in the mortgage side of the piece. And my partner, who has been my partner for over 20 years, who I'm about to introduce, we take this to heart because so many times in our community, the conversations that we need to have elude us because we are talking about things that don't matter when money does matter. We need to get to the money, as you just stated. Right. We need to spend more time talking about our finances, our credit, real estate, investments, because even in the midst of what is going on right now, we're still in a pandemic. There have been people that have capitalized on opportunities beyond belief. The top 1%ers of the world got richer in 2020. They didn't lose net wealth. They gained wealth in their experience through what they went through. So when people keep saying about the pandemic, as far as the financial stuff is concerned, and Aaron, not my partner, but my man here on the show can attest to.
Aaron.
Aaron can attest to right here is that we saw some incredible numbers as far as people taking out mortgages, buying real estate. Like it's been jumping in the middle of this pandemic. And so, like I said, thank you for that opportunity. And what I want to say is, first of all, Timeless Solutions is the name of our firm. We're a one-stop financial shop. Aaron Winston has not only been my partner, he's been my confidant. my roommate for over 20 years now. And I'm gonna let him give a little bit of backdrop on why we came up with the concept for Timeless and our company. And I'll let him speak real quick and we can get into whatever we need to get to after that.
That's what's up. Thank you.
Guys, I do appreciate the opportunity for being on the call and just being able to express our passion for our community and the power of financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all alluded to, just the benefit of our community being strong and persevering through so many changes, so much has happened that for us to be in existence. And Timeless was built off that same mindset and that model. Is we have the perseverance, we have the do-it-all, but we need to have financial professionals in place to help us see through, to see the future. We are good at plumbing. We are good at being a brick mason. We are good at being engineers. But at some point, we need another firm to take us to the next level, to prep us for interest rates dropping, to prep us for when real estate market is designed for you to buy versus sell, to prep us for buying and selling stocks and bonds, and getting us prepared for retirement, understanding Social Security, and understanding the power of life insurance. And more importantly, finalizing our legacy play and being remembered forever and not being forgotten. So Timeless Solutions was built on that model to be in place for our community and our families to have a place to go to help educate, to help simplify, and help enhance our lives going forward to leave a legacy.
Thank you for that. Thank y'all for the introduction. And
He runs for president in 2024.
hey man, the brother's sharp.
Yes, he
sharp,
is.
you know?
I like that.
Hey, but I do have a question for y'all. Because as we get into sort of the nitty gritty of of investing in these finances, and I'm sure Max, definitely Aaron got something, but I noticed on the Who is Timeless, just got to ask you about this, when it comes to relating, to our general audience. It says we are a financial consulting firm committed to improving quality of life for our AAA clients by organizing their financial chaos with a holistic process called the Timeless Way, right? So for the layman, right, where they may have a little money or they just may be serious about investing and getting their finances right and creating generational wealth, right? But they may not be A+ right now. Do you serve that person?
Absolutely. The model for AAA is really focusing on someone who has a great attitude, someone who has assets, but assets doesn't have to be $1 million. Assets is just the attitude and the wherewithal to move forward. That's what our AAA client is. So absolutely, our story is we've got the State Farms of the world for auto and homeowners insurance. We have your Prudential's helping you with your life insurance. H&R Block is doing your taxes. You have your local credit union or a bank helping you with banking. Mm-hmm. Every now and then you might have a will or trust done with an attorney. But at the end of the day, none of them companies work together. Mm. And the reason for Timeless is being able to help the layman, help that mom and dad who works and makes a adjusted gross income of $70,000, $80,000 a year that gets a good return on their taxes. But who do they have to go to understand how to leverage their money, how to retire when they need it to, the power of life insurance? So absolutely, to answer your question, we help all the above. You can be making $2 or $3 a month, or you can be making $1 million a year. We are here to help the layman and anyone in between.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This one's for Corey.
Yes, sir.
All right. I like what y'all said about building our community up, right? And I'm gonna be transparent for a second. I come from the time in history where we were making money by hook or by crook. Mm. And at a young age, I had a lot of money, but I had nobody like yourself to tell me, okay, young fella, you did wrong getting what you had. But I wish I had somebody that could have told me how to take the resources that I had and applied them to positive things where I could have benefited my children differently at this point in life. So my thing would be, if we're talking about the African-American community, there are people in the African-American community that have resources that may not know what to do with them. What suggestions would you come up with for that particular individual? Because they get left out all the time. Nobody talks to them.
Well, let me say this to you. Thank you for the question, because I think if we look back at generation over generation over generation, historically within our community, a lot of times we pass down things that do not help for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
That is bad information, misinformation, or not speaking to our children about finances, not talking to our children about credit. We have to open the conversation up, and we have to become transparent, because the counterparts in this country, that's what they do at a very early age. They plant the seed.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that it's fair for yourself or anyone else who feels like what they did in the past is wrong. Let's get into the present. Let's live in the moment. You can continue to chastise yourself for what you felt that you didn't do wrong, but you can never change that. The only thing you can do is change your mentality when it comes to finances and investments, and being open to the conversation moving from this point forward and going on to the future. And so I don't think that it's necessarily fair to dwell on what you did wrong. Just learn from your mistakes, don't repeat them, gain the knowledge and education, find a trusted advisor or someone that you can confide in, and then move forward, because the past is something that we cannot change.
You know, this show has been an excellent one to let me know just how rich our community is in terms of the people that we've had on this show speaking today. So again, I want to thank you for joining us. One of the things that I was glad to hear you and your partner say is that everybody, this is all inclusive, right? Your bank account doesn't have to have a certain number of commas in it, or your paycheck necessarily have to be above a certain amount for you to make wise financial choices, or to be educated, or be a part of something, or have access to something. So, and I think that that's good news to a lot of people, because they feel like that they are stuck and there is no hope. And so they're just gonna maybe live out the rest of their days in kind of this in struggle mode, so to speak. And then I'm also particularly interested, as we move forward in this series, to talk about the investment side of things. I attended a conference earlier this year where I heard for the first time how you are not going to grow rich or wealth in your 9-to-5. And it went on to elaborate on income streams, whether investing or what have you, that you need to be a part of, that you need to activate in order to create wealth for yourself. And so, you know, that was one of the reasons why I said, well, I got to get this information to my people. And a lot of them may have heard it, but for those that hadn't, it was just particularly important to me that we get the type of things that you guys are going to be talking about on In My Humble Opinion.
Hey, Double, you want to respond?
There's one root issue, and I don't want to use the word issue. There's one root that we've got to get to, and we've got the revenue, we've got the dollars. Sometimes we have lack of trust, and we love to work with our own community, but we don't trust our own community. And that comes between a lot of different things that goes deeper than before we were born. And so what I say to the audience, when I say to us, is that all progress begins by telling the truth. And before we can move to the investing and move into the passive income and the being an entrepreneur and being a business owner and passing on wealth, we almost got to address the elephant in the room. And that elephant in the room is just us understanding the fiscal language, the understanding what budgeting is, understanding what Brother Hargraves mentioned of credit, just understanding where we are. Because once we understand that, it just helps us. That's our basis. That's our backbone. You look at other communities and the amount of money that generates and stays in our community. the Asian community, the Jewish community, the Hispanic community. Our Black community is the community that makes the most but spends the less time in our community. 6 hours is our money is circulated from when we made it to staying in our community. Outside of that, it goes outside of our community. So we have to address the trust mentality. Before we can buy a house, flip a house, before we can do all those things and above, we have to understand where we are on a community standpoint and how to move forward. And that's one thing that we have to break that curse, moving forward.
Yeah. So, man, that's sort of the great preface, to, like as we sort of come to a close of this introduction, man, which is like, what are those steps? Like maybe you guys can, one of you can give us an overview of what our listening audience can expect, as far as the, the agenda of what's going to be covered over the next month.
Yes, sir. We're gonna break it down just like elementary school. We're going to first go to grade school, and we're going to understand what we call the State of the Union, which is where we are now. And once we get past that, we're going to start addressing the impact taxes have on our power, on our dollar, our spending dollar, which is called VAERS, VIRS. The third one's going to be your most valuable asset. Like, what is your most valuable asset? And we mentioned a lot of different tangible things, but at the end of the day, it's you, the person. And we're going to talk about how we're going to protect that with insurance, the power of insurance. The last two is going to be what is called the color of money. So before we can get into investing and buying stocks and bonds and understanding your 401k, let's break it down. Let's break down your dollars into colors and make sure we have enough conservative money flowing, guarantee money flowing, before we start getting more into aggressive. So you look at a professional athlete, they make a lot of money. They decide to start investing towards the tail end of their career. They become more aggressive and they fail. And so now they're always chasing the rabbit. We're going to start back to being very solid. The most beautiful thing about our seniors, they rely on Social Security. They've got their pensions. Those things are kind of going away for our class, for where we are. So we got to understand just the color of money and how to maximize your retirement. And the last thing is the forever forgotten, the wills, the trusts, the estate planning. Once we have land, once we have insurance, once we have cash in the bank, now let's not be the best kept secret. Yes, Uncle Bobby has all this money. He don't know who to trust. So he tend to just pass away and just let the money just go to whoever. Well, we're going to teach you what a will is, what a trust is, when to get one or the other, how to pass on real estate after you've passed away, how to pass on real estate while you're currently living, and how to make a lot of money but not pay a lot of taxes, the power of LLCs, the power of S Corps. So we're going to dance around all those subjects. And the benefit that Timeless provides to all the listeners is we're just not going to be idle chatter. We just don't talk it. We do it. We are insurance agents. We are mortgage brokers. We are real estate agents. We are attorneys. We are financial advisors. We are auto insurance specialists. So anything we recommend, anything we say, it has a correlating effect on each other. And that's biblical, because the right arm and the left arm needs to know what's going on. So what we can look forward to is not the idle chatter, but active planning, starting with the basics and moving on to legacy play.
Appreciate it. Hey, can I say something real quick? This is just this is actually just a statement for both of these young men. Being in financial services, being in the mortgage business, it's been like a renaissance, I would say, over the last 24 to 36 months. And I am so happy to see Black men taking the lead on this financial issue and just helping us. Obviously, as you guys know, #1 business show in the world, not by coincidence, is Earn Your Leisure. And so when I hear you guys talking, that's two brothers, Shadi and Rashad. So when I hear you guys talking specifically, it just proves the point that this is bigger than us. Yeah. That it's everything that we're doing, each of us individually or as companies in this corporation, that is bigger than us. So I just want to salute you guys, give you the flowers now, for stepping out there, because our community needs, specifically our men that are in these spaces, to come out and talk to them.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you guys. I just want to let you guys know that, from a professional to a professional, because there's not a lot of us in these spaces. And if there are us, sometimes we don't have the courage to go out there and step out there and to be the men we're supposed to be in these spaces serving our community. So I appreciate you guys.
Yes. Right.
Let me just
Thank
say,
you.
we humbly accept you giving us the flowers. And I also would like to reciprocate that to Brother Lewis, to Brother Simmons, to Razor, Queen Max, for giving us this opportunity, because a lot of times what happens in our community, we have this crab in a barrel mentality.
That's right.
You know, if someone comes up, there's either some animosity or maybe some jealousy towards that person for being successful at what they do, instead of embracing them. And as you stated, giving them the flowers while they are still here, live in the moment. So I extend that back to you and I reciprocate that. And one thing I will say to you before we do close out, to all of you, I challenge you this. I want you to actually think, how many hours of the week, how many hours in a day do you spend talking about finance, discussing finance, talking about investments, talking about real estate? Because you become what you speak, what you do. It's just like going into the gym. You know, everybody's been affected by this pandemic, but it's like, all right, a lot of people were like, I want to shed some pounds. I want to tighten back up because I was in the house for so long. So how much time do you honestly spend talking about finances, talking about budgets and other things that Brother Winston was just discussing? Because you become that. And if we engage more in these conversations and this dialogue, then we can start to get ahead and catch back up, no matter what the past has dictated for us. And so I just challenge you all to really start keeping account of how much time do you spend during the weeks talking about money, talking about finances, because it is imperative that we do so to get ahead.
Okay. That's right, man.
I can't wait till the next show.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so brothers, thank y'all. You know, I think we gave the listeners more than enough to look forward to. And
Wow.
we are pressed up against the bottom of the show. But thank y'all. Thank everybody. Thank all our guests today. Looking forward to continuing this partnership with you brothers and providing this much needed service to our community. Not just for the education, but also to show how we as a people are gonna work together and build this well.
Hey, Charles, I'm gonna give Brother Hargrave this $10 and see what he can do with it.
Let's rock with it. Let's rock with
it. Make it work.
I got you. I got you. Y'all be good.
Brothers, y'all be well. And until next time, IMHO family, hit us up, IMHO Talk Show online. Stay posted. Appreciate y'all.